Now what Bajaj said is they went after refinement,
Hmm.
nailed it. It's a very smooth motorcycle.
Oh.
And it is louder at peak revs, but it is not any less smooth at peak revs, which is really nice about it. I've ridden this motorcycle, for your reference, at the Bajaj event, the media preview, maybe 50 kilometers. But then it came to the studio for filming, and we put another 100-ish kilometers, I'm going to say. So we put 160 kilometers on this bike. It is a very smooth motorcycle. I haven't ridden
Two separate motorcycles?
Yeah, two motorcycles.
So you have two different data sets.
Two different data
pull
sets.
From, yeah.
50 on one, 100 on the other. Both smooth. Okay. I haven't ridden the Raider in a while. I remember it as being smooth. I remember it as being fun, but I no longer have a memory of whether it is smoother or not. I don't remember that being vibey. This is smooth for sure. Handling, it's clean, and Bajaj said we wanted to make it really light, and they referenced one of my favorite Pulsars, the 125 LS.
Yeah.
Right? So it's a really lightweight motorcycle. The only motorcycle that is physically lighter than the N125 on the market today is the Raider, which is by 2 or 3 kilos. Everything else is heavier. Hero did the thing by saying single channel ABS will give as an option if you want, so that legally they're not required to do it in the 125, but there's the single channel ABS option.
Okay.
And this bike doesn't do that, so it doesn't have single channel ABS on offer. But frame is brand new. And they're saying the frame is one of the reasons why it's so light. So for example, versus the NS125, it loses 8 kilos, 7 kilos, something like that. So it's a significant drawdown in weight. And if you see how they built this frame, it's actually quite interesting. The engine is mounted diamond style, but where all the frames are now splitting the engine hangers into two, it's a single engine hanger that comes and cradles the engine from the bottom. You can see how they've saved weight in all of these
From
things.
the bottom?
Yeah, so the engine's like this, the frame comes down and grabs it like that.
Okay, okay.
It doesn't close. It's
understood.
to the bottom. Swing arm is also, I think, 3 kilos lighter than the equivalent NS125 swing arm. Engine is lighter. Engine is also brand new. And it makes 12 PS. It makes 11 Newton meters of torque, which puts it roughly at the top of the segment in terms of performance output. So between the lightweight performance output, you're expecting to have a motorcycle that feels peppy. It is, but after a fashion. Okay, so when I rode it, I kept feeling like it's not going, oh, now it's going. And then in the next gear, it's not going, oh, now it's going. So I came back to Bajaj, and Bajaj hadn't shown the performance curves, the power curves to anybody. So I said, can I see the power curves? He said, yeah, but you can't take a photo, you can see it.
Okay.
And it's a flat curve, it's a high curve, but there is a step like that. Okay, so if you stay in the same gear and accelerate, it accelerates reasonably well, but there is a big step in terms of feeling, and after the step it accelerates even better. So once you get the taste of that, then suddenly the first part of the step doesn't feel like it's important enough, right?
Okay.
So if I were to put numbers to it and compare it to an Extreme 125, I'm not convinced that the N125 will come out feeling slower. But the initial acceleration will feel slower than the N125 acceleration just a little bit later. So you constantly want to shift down and access that part of the torque again.
Okay.
And it's crazy because it's a small bike. It has a reasonably flat torque curve, and therefore the step that we're talking about in real world terms is a very small step.
I was just going to say.
Yeah, but it makes enough of a difference for me to know that staying above this gives me something and staying below this doesn't give me a feeling.
Any idea of where that step is?
Halfway, exactly halfway.
Oh, it's halfway.
Yeah, so this bike I think peaks out at 8,000 and 9,000 RPM. So this is looking at 4,500, 5,000 RPM as the switch point. And even when we were taking riding shots today with the car, every time the car would accelerate, if he was doing it gently, I could just stay in the same gear and roll the throttle on. But if I can see him flooring it, you have to go down 1 or 2 gears and access that part of the rev range to do it. So it's just a contrast between the bottom of the same revs and the high revs. Although I don't think this bike is a slow bike by the standards of this segment.
Doesn't sound like a slow bike.
No, it is. If you'd like to know more, this video has a longer version on the main MotorInc channel.